Hello, welcome to Ben's Page Turners. Unlock the world of books. I am Linus Godwin. On today's episode, we'll be diving into the book Handling Pressure and Rejection. I have amazing panelists with me here today. By my right, I have Pastor Dan Edan. You're welcome, sir.
Pleasure,
from Cornerstone Apostolic Network. By my left, we have Professor Matthias Ebuka from Cornerstone Apostolic Network. You're welcome, sir. It's a privilege to have you here.
Pleasure.
By my far left, I have Pastor Samson Adenisoya, also from Cornerstone Apostolic Network. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
It's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Let's dive into the book, Handling Pressure and Rejection. Today, we'll be looking at how to handle pressure and rejection, written by Dr. Ben Aliko. Now, when it comes to pressure and rejection, many times what comes to people's mind is negativity. But I believe after reading this book, you'll come to realize that there is a positive side of pressure. Can you throw more light on the negative and then the positive side of pressure and rejection?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Linus. Like I said, if you look at the book, you will see that we have about 12 chapters in the book.
Okay.
And then the first chapter of the book talks about pressure and rejection, which is very vital. Of course, it captured the title of the book. And then he talks about different kind of pressure. And that pressure can bring pain, it can bring discomfort, it can even bring rejection. And why many people look at pressure from the negative side and think that it's something that is meant to destroy them. Now there's also a good part of pressure that is actually meant to put us on edge so that we can come out with something good.
That's right.
Now, for instance, if a student is reading for exam, you see, sometimes you are on edge to want to cover the syllabus. And when you do it very well, you will come out with a good result. It is not actually meant to destroy you. And sometimes too, when you have a target or maybe let's say saving, somebody once says that if you don't save, you are not safe. And maybe when you live like that, you're trusting God, let me learn the habit of saving. You will notice that you will be on pressure to try to save from your little income. Now, while you are saving, you may not be able to meet up with other things. So while you do that, you will discover that at the end of the day, you have been able to save something and it will bring you joy. So if you look at what Dr. Ben said, he said, notwithstanding negative feelings resulting from pressure, there are equally very positive ends to pressure through persuasive and sometimes inconveniencing physical pressures. These have often led to positive, novel, and noble ends. So I believe that when pressure are handled with positive mentality, it can actually help us to bring out good results. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insight. When you were speaking, I remembered back then when I was in school. Although it's a bad habit anyway, we hardly read until we hear that the test or the exams is tomorrow. If I start reading, the zeal to read is not there. But the thought of the exams being tomorrow, there's this pressure that it brings on me. And then I will be able to sit down, and then what I wouldn't do under 1 week, I will do it under 1-2 hours. I think that's a positive side of pressure. Like
sometimes when you go for interview, people say, I do better under pressure. Of course, not everybody can do that, but there are people who bring out their best under pressure.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Sir, over to you, sir. Having gone through this book, Handling Pressure and Rejection, written by Dr. Ben, what would you say is the effects of pressure and rejection? First, on an individual, and then perhaps on the nation at large.
Thank you. There are several effects of pressure on an individual, organization, or nation, as the case may be. People are different from their upbringing and the environments they come from. That's what we call emotional intelligence. Ability to control yourself when other people are losing their heads. So pressure can either make or mar an individual. Some people, when they are pressurized, they have the ability to be patient and then try to understand what is pressurizing them. And it helps them, like my brother just said, to be able to find a positive result. And that's how he rendered it here in the very first paragraph. So pressures and rejections can have significant effects on individuals. He goes on to say they can lead to stress. And stress can lead to anything.
That's right.
Stress.
That's true.
Pressure. It can lead to anxiety. It can also lead to low self-esteem.
Yeah.
It makes somebody to feel diminished, denigrated, that he won't be able to have a voice where his other fellows are talking. Pressure. It also leads to, I mentioned, depression, stress and depression. So it has a lot of things it can cause. Like he also said, it has some positive
aspects
and negative aspects.
That's right.
Some people do well when they have that kind of pressure, which you also mentioned when you were in school. Some people, when you pressurize them, you have killed them.
Sure.
They won't be able to have the confidence to stand. Something they can do with greater ease. Because of the pressure, their thinking faculty is shut out or shut in, that they won't be able to feature or be able to give out their best. So pressure has effects depending on individuals and depending on whom the pressure is coming from and the extent of that pressure. There are pressures that are consistent. There are pressures that just give you some little breathing space to be able to make things, make amends, as it were. But there are people who pressurize you, and that pressure will lead to something else that you don't expect. That's what I can say about that.
Prof, like in a workplace, sometimes some people have gotten to the point of resigning because of the kind of pressure.
Yes.
And then some other persons have been able to do better because they are both pressurized.
Of course.
Yeah. So in essence, pressure has a positive effect and a negative effect on an individual or the nation at large.
Sure.
So I believe it's how we're able to handle the pressure that determines if it comes out positively or if it comes out negatively. Our ability to handle it.
Sure.
That's what determines.
Let me just say this. You know, China is a country we read about and we knew about. China is just recently they started coming up. If you go through or hear what they went through before they exploded to the point they are doing things, you'll be shocked. Before, nobody wanted China to produce the products. If products are from China, they say China. That shows that it's below standard. But now,
that's right.
because of how they went through some hard situations, they now give themselves to working harder. And Nigeria can be turned around.
That's right.
If the pressure of the situation, the political situation, economic situation, and people, we started a kind of research somewhere. And along the line, I was thinking that we should push on. All of a sudden, people just give up. People give up. So pressures can make people to break through. It can make people, like this research, I don't want to mention the institution. There were 12 professors and 4 academic doctors came together. And me, I was so deeply involved because I was looking for solution. And I know that if all of us brainstormed, we can find that solution. All of a sudden, everybody to attest all Israel. So this is the problem we're having. Let the pressure of the situation here give us more zeal and zest. Give us more commitment to looking for the solution, and the solution will come. Look at China.
That's right. Wow. Thank you, sir. So when we're able to handle pressure, we will bring out the positivity in it. So now over to you, Pastor Samson. Having heard all this and having gone through this book, I believe how to handle this pressure is very important. Because if I don't know how to handle the pressure, I believe our viewers out there will want to know how to handle pressure. And then in this book, Dr. Ben has done justice giving his life story on how he was able to handle his pressure. And I believe on your own side also, on occasions, pressure and rejections would have come to you. In the light of this book, how are you able to handle these pressures and rejections?
Thank you very much. Handling pressure and rejection, meaning how do we navigate or how do we manage it when it comes?
Okay.
Number one, it involves combination of factors.
Okay.
And one of the factors is we identify the sources and possible reason for the pressure.
Wow.
Identifying the sources and the
possible reason for the pressure.
reasons for the pressure. Because the purpose of pressure is one, to refine our inner strength, according to the author. And number two, to redefine our assignment. So when we understand the reason behind the pressure, we'll be able to navigate towards it, through it. And another thing is that time is very important. When we are passing through pressure or rejection, time is very, very important. We must take time to pray, take time to think, and beyond thinking, take time to meditate. So time is very important. Like the passage of the scripture you quoted, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Still talking about timing.
That's right.
Timing. Very important in handling pressure. And in handling rejection, from the author perspective, even the relationship that God is involved, it is God that broke the relationship. You have no power to amend it.
That's right.
It is said in the scripture that what God has joined together, let not man put asunder. So in another perspective, what God has separated, no man can bring together. So when God has put a separation in a relationship, allow the relationship or allow the people to go and focus on your new assignment. The author said, as you focus on your new assignment, better relationship will come and meet you in your new assignment. So that's how to handle pressure and rejection. We keep our focus on the new assignment God is giving.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. That was an amazing insight into how to handle pressure and rejection. So before we wrap up the program for today, do you have any last words to say to the viewers?
Yeah, I'd like to recommend this because we can't say everything for you here in the studio, but there are several things. There are also agents that causes pressure, like he mentioned of them, identifying the source of them. If we're able to know these agents, we'll know how to deal with them. But you can read more in the book, and I'm sure you will have a good read.
Professor, any last word?
That's the last word. The best thing for anybody who has heard about this book is to obtain it and read it and keep it. It is very good as a companion because we are living in a world where there are pressures, there are rejections. And then it should be good to have the key on how to handle them as they come.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Pastor Sampson, any last words, sir?
Let maintain according to the author, let maintain relationship that will not put us that will not make us die young, that will not make us die a failure, that will not make us die a sinner, and that will not make us end in hell.
All these are vital points mentioned in the book. Thank you, sir. And just as was said, we cannot really dive and then begin to say everything in this book. But it will be to your own good that you get a copy of this book because it is rich. And then not only that it is rich, in this time we find ourselves as Nigerians, we need to learn how to handle pressure. And then he said it, we need time to pray, time to meditate, time to think. These are ways in which we can handle pressure. I thank you so much, Pastor Dan, for being here today. It's a privilege having you here.
My pleasure, sir.
Professor, it's always a privilege having you on the show.
Pleasure too.
Welcome, sir. Pastor Samson, it's an amazing privilege having you here on the show today.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. My viewers, you have learned, I believe, and I believe you would make steps to get this book. So until we meet again on the next episode of Being Page Turners, I remain Linus Godwin. Thank you for staying tuned.